Yeah, like, even with the grand awakening of what's going on between the shadow work and the collective, like raising its conscious awareness, people picking their sides. What I do notice is that through the last, you know, 9, 10 years since 9/11, 20 years of 9/11, no one's really documenting our history. They're not getting it through our eyes of the people, how we are perceiving reality and documenting that, as well as our real time experiences. What the future will know is what is on the news and our official narratives of what they say is truth. So, 30 years from now, people are going to be looking back on Fauci as a hero. And they're not aware that there was a megalithic election fraud. Okay? Like, they're not going to know or believe how corrupt it really was, because do you really know how corrupt it was in 1930 during the Great Depression?
No.
No, because you weren't there, right?
Right.
And do you know, how do we know that Hitler was really the bad guy in World War II? Well, they told us he was, but when you go back on some of the history there, Hitler was trying to go against Zionist Jews, trying to go against world banks. They say that he wanted the one world order, and that if he won the war, everyone would be speaking German. But everyone I know that's outside of America speaks English. There's no way around it.
Right.
You may be Argentinian and speak Latin. You may be European and speak French or German or African, but 90% of the world knows the secondary language of English. But how many Americans do you know that know every other language fluently?
No.
No, no,
No.
not
No.
at all.
Any at all.
No, not at all. And so when I think about these variables going on between how nations are set up, how now if you look at this video that I sent you, which I highly recommend you do, the Codex Alimentarius, that video that I sent and uploaded. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, we're moving in this collective awareness now where it's like, oh, don't feed the fear. Well, if my government was set up with a plan and an agenda, and I'm noticing from the 1800s all the way to World War One, all the way to World War Two, to the war on terror, which war is terror, and now we are going into the war on COVID-19. Are we seeing an agenda? Are we starting to see their plan really unfold? Or are we just going to keep believing it's a conspiracy theory and we should just, manifest a better timeline somehow when there's a gun put in your face? From the UN, comply or die, get your vaccine or die, and to look up and search on YouTube, which I think I'm going to do a little video to put all these the investigatory pieces together that I'm being drawn to today. I'm like kind of like, well, why am I being brought to this information all over again? Like, does it really matter? Well, I think the less that people are talking about it, the more that they know they can get away with it. No one's doing. They say for tyranny to grow wings is for good people to sit back and don't do shit. How did it get this way? Good people didn't do anything. They went to work. They, their perception was more or less a paycheck or money and gains. I don't know, but you're definitely on the right money. How you been doing? Did you leave where you have been and to a different location?
No. No. I'm still in the backyard of my buddies.
Okay. How's COVID in the tent? If you're gonna make COVID in the tent, you're gonna survive anything in the fucking tent, bro.
Right. Yeah. I'm on the cusp of it now, man. My body don't hurt no more. I keep going into like little fucking fevers, man. Fucking waking up soaking wet. But I think I might be inducing now with the wild stuff that I'm putting into me to fucking get rid of this shit.
Well, anytime you're sick, your body is actually going through the process of pushing out the bacteria. So it's like you're sick, you don't know you're sick, but now the body is fighting it, and that's what that whole process of being sick is. So
right.
You're doing great. And if you're sweating bullets, that's also what I recommend all the time whenever people are like, I don't feel good, I'm not doing good. I tell them to put on like 3 pairs of socks, a couple pairs of pajamas, you know, and sweat that shit out. That's actually what you want to do. And, you know, it's always sped up the process for me. It's made me, instead of like what could make me sick in a week and go through 7 days of sickness, could crunch it down to a couple to 3 days. Just sweating the shit out. So, how's your diet?
My diet's good, man. I've been eating all right.
Yeah, what have you been eating? What is your diet lately?
It's mostly fucking beans and rice.
Beans and rice?
Beans and rice, and then whatever I can forage, like dandelions. I've been putting a lot of sweet fern to me. I'm still looking for some yarrow, but the fucking shit ain't flowered yet, so I can't find it.
Right. To then understand what it really looks like. Well, actually, I'm looking at something that's starting to flower right now. That might be yarrow. Because I remember the pictures you were showing me, and I started looking around, and I don't see it. But I know what you're saying. It's like these little white flowers, right?
Yeah, it's a tall plant.
It is a tall plant. I think I'm looking at yarrow right now. It's wild, right? Grows everywhere.
It kind of looks similar to like a dandelion leaf. It's a real ugly leaf.
Okay. Yo, I love how these... Okay, so this brings me towards that Codex Alimentarius. What they're trying to do is make it so that all vitamins and nutrition is prescribed to you. So what Monsanto is going to do, which is now becoming the new company called Bayer, because Monsanto's got a bad name. It's not a good name anymore. So, because it's tainted its reputation, what does the company do? It changes its name. It reformats itself. So, when your job or your money is off vitamins, nutrition, food, genetically altering organisms and, stuff like that, you start to realize your job is nature. Your job is literally to explore all the natures and species of plants and how they all work. And once you realize that life is a plant, you're even a tree, an ecosystem, if you will, and based off our nutrients and what we have and put in our body is going to obviously be the optimum, vital stance and of our immune system, or be the complete shittiest, situation of our immune system and break us down. So when you think about dandelions and shit, they don't really teach you that in self. They don't teach you that in school. They don't teach you that dandelions is a natural remedy. They don't teach you about yarrow. They don't teach you about how the very plant life around us that we call weeds is actually sacred herbs and has nutritional properties that can...
They've taught us how to eradicate all that shit because it's a fucking weed. We'd rather have fucking pretty lawns with grass.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what you just said. When I was living down in Florida selling roofs, I had to go into gated communities, and one of the things that was a $1,000, $1 billion or $1 million industry, or at least $100,000 a year, a couple $100,000 a year, is definitely the lawn care industry. And people spending money and thousands of dollars on fake sod. So it's not even real grass anymore. And then I started thinking about, well, what if that was a garden? What if everyone had a garden? Even when you drive down the highway and you got that long strip of fucking grass right in the middle, all the way to wherever the fuck you're going, from Canada all the way down to the Keys to, you know,
Right.
highway marker 0. Uh, fucking imagine having a garden right in the middle there. What food hunger? I think starvation is on purpose, truly on purpose. World hunger, um, doing what you're doing. How are you going to survive in the wintertime? Have you thought about that?
Um, yeah, I'll have a snowbank, so I could probably kill something a little bigger, you know?
I see what you're saying. You'll be able to kill it and then freeze it and keep it like a refrigerator.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's genius. Wasn't thinking about that. You know, in the wintertime, you're thinking, doesn't matter. You kill something, it might go bad. But then again, actually, no. We're outside. It's like a natural refrigerator all the fucking time.
Right. Yeah, it's not like down south, man, where it's gonna go bad because it fucking still hits fucking 80 degrees.
Right. Yeah, I mean, all my friends down in Florida right now, I'm glad I'm not in Florida. Like, let me tell you something. I miss Florida during those winter months, but right around right now, this is right around that time where I'd be in Florida wishing I was in New England.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm
Right.
glad that you're doing okay. How you think another good remedy probably is you're gonna have to like potentially keep up on a good healthy diet of garlic.
There's, garlic's gonna be hard to come by in the woods.
Yeah. You might need to carry some bulbs with you and then mince it and make tea with it. Because, you know, if you eat it raw, I mean, it'll eat your gut just eating it. You're going to want to, like,
Right.
make it as a tea. It's great for, like, your immune system, any kind of stomach bug,
Right.
you know.
I could cut it down. I could mince it and, or dice it and
Yep.
put it in honey.
Well, I was going to say, if you get a jar, this is what I usually do. And I actually have all the products with it now, and I've been getting ready to do it. This is what you do. You take a fucking mason jar, and you fill it not all the way full of garlic cloves. So you peel the cloves, and you chop off the ends of it, but don't mince it. But you put it
Right.
inside the jar and then pour honey over it. And every morning you wake up, you turn the lid and let all the air out, and it'll start to
Yep.
ferment the honey in there and turn it into honey garlic, which is great to like just eat as soon as you wake up in the morning. Eat one, you
Right.
know, basically daily, like an essential vitamin. And
Right.
it is vital. It will definitely build up your immune system, keep you healthy and alive. And another good thing, which I have all my stuff down in Florida, I wish I had right now, is colloidal silver. If you can make your own colloidal silver, some people the government try to tell you not to do it because it can turn people. They say that it'll turn you blue. It's not true. It kills all single-celled organisms, which is exactly what viruses are and bacteria.
Right.
Whereas we are a
Right.
multi-celled organism, so it won't kill us or anything. And yeah, you can drink that, a teaspoon. I did experimental usage to see how things were. I drank a shot glass every day, and after about a year to 6 months of it, I'm not gonna lie, I never got sick. Looking back on it now, I never got sick. Um,
No shit.
yeah.
I've been, sweet fern's actually coming out really good right now, and that stuff works really good if you look that stuff up.
Sweet
It
fern.
does kind of the same things, and you can also use it for a topical, like deodorant, or it helps you release the oils out of your hair, so that you can like it's good for hygiene. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And skincare, and what else does it do? It stops bug bites. Like, yeah, it stops them from itching. Fucking, I've been drinking a little bit of tea daily of the sweet fern,
What is it called again? Teen Ailey?
Sweet fern.
Yeah, you
Sweet
said
fern.
Teen Ailey or something like that. Sweet ferns.
No,
What?
I've been drinking tea daily.
Tea
Sweet fern
daily.
tea.
Sweet fern tea.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice, dude. You know, okay, so while you're seeing this stuff, I'm thinking about, I'm picking up some, this stuff called Cutter Natural Insect Repellent. Now, first off, natural. What the fuck is natural that repels insects out in the world? Again, going back to the plant-based nature, going back to the
Yeah,
basics.
you can use the citronella plant works good. Sweet lemongrass works good for that.
Lemongrass, citronella plants. So there's actually a citronella
Uh,
plant. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, why are we not planting that shit around our entire fucking property and shit all over the place? How is that not? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I feel like everything's being completely controlled. And, I mean, dude, I had a lot of these theories when I was a kid, and everyone thought I was fucked up in my society. Now, as we're getting older.
It's like what the government's doing is the government's like at war with Mother Nature because fucking Mother Nature will just give us this stuff.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing they did with Tesla.
Tesla, yeah, and the free energy. Yep.
Right.
It is. It is a war on nature. Yeah. They said it's a war on nature, but the more I look at it, I realize we're nature with a voice. So they make you forget that you're nature. They separate man from nature. They call man that lives in nature a beast, not a natural man. Whereas the one who actually is living in the world of money and commerce and finance, they are the beast now. They are the animal. Because, I mean, you're not going to see anybody in Washington get their hands dirty and get blood on their hands, but they'll definitely pay you to do it. They'll definitely pay you to kill yourself or someone else. Right. There was, I did, on my other page, I've been doing like, as I evolve more in my spiritual gnosis and consciousness and knowing that, like, many people are going to start coming to this awareness more and more and more as it starts to progress and steamroll and snowball into this collective conscious awakening. That's why I think they're doing COVID-19 is they knew that this conscious awakening was coming. They knew that, I mean, when I first got approached with shadow work, even in myself, it was like either keep it a secret to myself or share it with other people. And so my first instinct was, I'm going to share it with people. People deserve to know the truth. I've been telling them the truth since I first came spiritually, enlightened to the things that I had in 2014, 2013, 2012, right around there. And then leading to currently right now. In fact, people are sleeping now. The internet is being deleted and scrubbed, and any work that was done with the so-called truther community, they realize people are just sitting behind a keyboard right now. No one's doing anything. No one's getting out on the front lines. They're not establishing a new government. They're not trying to create an organization to get ahead of the corruption that's been going on over the last 18. No one's doing it. They're just talking about it. So that's fucking dangerous, bro. That's where we are as a society. So, and they got us since Jade Helm 15, which again, I did a fucking documentation on Jade Helm 15. You will see, I believe that drill wasn't just a drill to do one-on-one combat with military ballistic missiles and guns and tanks. This psychological war going on with Jade Helm 15 was to master the human domain. That was literally the slogan that was sold to the people and everyone in 2015 when Jade Helm 15 was a drill being conducted. And they said, It was to conduct unconventional warfare across the globe and to infiltrate communities, groups, subdivisions that might be a threat to the United States or the uh, the unfolding the unfolding shit that's going on that we see in front of us today. They wanted to know if there's going to be like a real threat, or can they just move effortlessly in and subterfuge, take over, usurp the American people, the government, and everything. And that's what I believe the election fraud was. They created this office of the president-elect that never existed before. That's the sign right there. We don't have the same government we did. We don't even have a democratic government. We have now a socialistic, communist, Marxist government right now. That's what we have. That's what I see. We went from a republic to a banker's constitution of a democratic charter that created the government that we have in Washington, District of Columbia, the two-party fraudulent system that we see that's been sold to us, you know, because you're a little bit older than me, but I'm going to say over the last 38 years of my life, being told, because I had no idea what a Republican was or a Democrat really when I was 17. And so that's 1 year from being the legal permitted age to vote. So I had no idea what politics was, and then 9/11 happened. So did I have a say of what happened with 9/11? No. I I wasn't even, I was still trying to catch up towards the education of whether was my corrupt. I knew that Bush, when I saw 9/11 and his speeches, I felt like something was wrong. Like, this is a lie. I felt that way right away. So I've been this guy even then. And I don't know did you believe it was a lie? Or did you kind of believe what was being sold to us?
Well, I kind of knew what was going on with the fucking, with the Russians and the fucking Taliban before all of that shit happened. We got involved with it, and when we were supplying the Taliban so that they could fight the Russians with all the fucking the guns and the cannons and shit like that. And then when we got what we wanted out of them, we fucking backed out of there and we took all that shit with us. And the Russians fucking demolished the fucking Taliban.
Oh, really? I didn't know that the Russians actually. So is that why? So there's something that's telling me that America has been kind of working and colluding with Russia, because in 2001 we took over the Afghanistan fields and burned all the poppy fields, which actually was, I guess at the time, Russia's opiates. That was their opium.
Right.
So we burned the fields and started over, and then I believe the U.S. troops are still guarding the opium fields to this very day. Yeah. So,
we're guarding, that's like the pharmaceutical fucking...
Right, that's for big tech pharma to do all the oxys and fucking Dilaudid and everything that they have for, like, you know, whenever somebody goes to the fucking hospital or gets some pills or scripts. So basically, drugs are legal as long as they prescribe it to you. But, you know, God forbid.
Dealer in the world, buddy.
You know, this is all Bible prophecy, everything that's going on. It really is. It really is. And I'll tell you, there's a part where if you read the this has happened before. You're absolutely right. The question is, though, is like, you know, okay, well, I'm going to tell you something. As in the days of Noah, he said to everybody, it's like, hey, a flood's coming. No one believed him. They were all laughing at him, mocking him, telling him he was crazy. And he kept doing it and doing it. And what I mean by doing it and doing it and doing it was he was working on the ark. He never gave up on the ark. He kept going, right? And keeping his faith. Well, in the Bible, describing the return of Yeshua, which I believe this right here, this conscious awakening that we have right now, this is the return of Christ right now. this mindset, okay, is the Christ return. But they said that it will be as in the days of Noah, and that in the end times it'll also be like Sodom and Gomorrah. And what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah? Well, homosexuality was rampant, but it wasn't just homosexuality. Men were having sex with little boys. They were fucking the little boys and, raping little girls, though. Like, those are things that I'm not trying to desensitize or dismiss. I mean, I think once men knew that they could have sex with a woman and this either felt good or whatever it did, I think that no matter what was already in an instinct naturally of some men to cross the line and barrier of morality and give a fuck whether the girl was of age or not of age. It says in the Bible that she has to be mature, which is the time that she's flowering, which goes back towards the time that she is beginning her first period. Is usually when a girl is ripe to start having children and start making love or having sex or fornicate, whatever you want to call it. Right. But in the end times in the Bible, it said that no one's going to believe. We're not, just like right now, we weren't in 1930, so we don't know the history of that time. The Bible is very questionable, but it's over 2,000 years old. I'm reading Gnostic scripture, Septuagint. I'm reading the Nag Hammadi. I've read a lot of the Sumerian text, and even the Book of Enoch lines a lot up with the Sumerian text. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter. They all correlate and say a lot of the same shit. So with that being said, I'm not going to disregard it. Okay. So, but one of the things it said that was going to happen in the end times was sorcery, a lot of sorcery. So I'm trying to find the actual scripture where they say, and they use these terms, sorcery. And then when you look up the Strong's Concordance of the Bible and you look up the word sorcery, it takes you to the word called pharmakia, which is medicine. So they're going to use medicine on the people to control them and to do spells on people. Is that not what's happening right fucking now?
Right.
Dude, totally. Another amazing thing I came across was, if you read this book called Cracking the Code, and another one's called The Redemption Manual 4.5, they talk about, how there's correlations between the Matrix and also the movie The Wizard of Oz. And a wizard is just really a man of craft, skill, can invent things. He's wise. He's cunning. He can bend your reality, morph your perception. That's a wizard. And the next one would be Oz always breaks down towards being really ounces. And what they said was, before the book was written, it was produced in the movie in 1939, but the book was really written in the 20s or 10 years or actually 1900. It was written 40 years, bro, before the movie, right? And in the original book, Dorothy had silver slippers and she was going down the yellow brick road. Well, the symbology, just as there is everything that has symbology. In fact, I found out movies are kind of, one, they're authorized scripts. They are a message that is documented. They are programming the people with a warning. Everything that's presented to the people is on purpose all the time. And it falls back into...
That's why they call it a program.
That's exactly why they call it a program. That's right. And if you look back in history, it's called predictive programming. And where they will project to you, they did it with Obama. We project the winning of this election to be Obama, and he won. They were trying to project Hillary. It didn't win because, well, I mean...
Designed to change how you fucking perceive what's going on.
Right. There's the wizard, right? So when you look at the wizard and the man behind the curtain, because they're trying to get you to believe in a God up in the sky, not that you're equal to God as well, and they want you to believe that the devil's out there so you can believe, fear, resent, judge in the devil, and deny the devil, which makes you become the devil. You understand? And if you only love God out of fear of going to hell, well, guess what? What you fear already consumes you. What you fear is already your reality. Just hasn't got there yet. It's coming. Just me. So in the book, right, the symbology was, well, how do you get to the Emerald City? How do you get to the wizard? What do you got to do? You follow the yellow brick road. Right, exactly, yeah. So how do you find out what's going wrong in the country? Well, you follow the money trail. What's that? What did you say?
You start following the witch.
You start following the witch. Yo, if you follow that money trail, you'll find out where everything's going. Like, follow the money trail of what happened during 9/11. Who got rich during that? Well, those are probably the investors that probably made that happen. You know? Well, in 1900, they started already going after America's gold. So by the 30s, we were already out of gold. And that's right around the time when the Wizard of Oz came out, right after the Great Depression. And the tornado represents the confusion of the American people in the 30s. And if you look at the people, the way that they were portrayed in the movie, were just country folk, not really thinking too hard. Well, that's when the invisible federal government, that's when two jurisdictions, two countries took over and no one knew it. And then there was, so then when so if you look at the witch, she represents like the newfound world and the new world coming over, because even when she comes over, she's like, well, I'm coming to take Toto away. Well, if you look up the word and what the meaning of Toto means, it means everything. So they said, I'm coming to take Toto. Okay? Because she bit me. And then so they said to her, they were like, well, he only, he's usually really gentle. He never really bites anybody unless maybe they weren't gentle to him or something like that. And then they were like, listen, you already own half the county, so why do you have to keep pushing us around? She's like, I'll take the fucking whole farm if I have to. And so it was like, holy shit. And she's like, I'll get the law here to take the dog if you don't let me. Well, back in the day, common law used to be, you can't just call somebody to take someone's dog. You got to have like real rhyme and reason, a real victim, and all this stuff. So in the movie, they're showing you that America is being taken over. We're fucking cowards. We're just like, you better give up the dog or they're going to take everything from us. And they were like, okay. So that's exactly what the government was doing to the people at that time. So when the story began, she meets that fucking fortune teller. And right there, it's talking about the crowned heads of Europe. He's talking about ISIS and Egypt and all this shit. So then finally, she ends up going to Oz, or this magical world, right? Which after she gets swept away from the fucking tornado, the house drops on the other witch, okay, of the West, and gets the ruby slippers, which originally were silver. In the book, they're silver. So they're to represent the confiscation of the gold and the silver. And remember, so then they made them ruby red because by law, whenever you sign your name, it's supposed to be in red ink to represent the flesh and blood of a living man. So they changed the slippers to red to represent her being a living person in this fantasy world. Does this start to make sense now? Are we not a living person living in a fantasy world? So then they, and remember now, the only way that she got to get home, she just got to click her ruby red slippers and she can already go back home. Well, we forget that we are home. We're not claiming ourselves. We're not going back to our own authoritative birthright. We are doing the same thing that our parents did, which was sell the farm. Well, where's our land then? Well, they did the same thing to their biological property. Look, everyone's turning on their own self. Before, there used to be like 13, 14 fucking kids a family, 30 fucking kids, big giant families. Now it's like, you can't, Man, how could you have so many kids this well? It's fact that everybody's all judgmental. You can't afford it. Nobody has abundance anymore. Dude, they got us by the mental genitals. So anywho, if you look up the word Oz, it always breaks down to ounces no matter what. And what they did was they said that silver was always more plentiful than gold. So they'll just break down they stole all the gold in small incremental amounts of ounces. That's why it's called the Wizard of Oz, because it's the wizard who stole all the ounces of gold. And at the end, right? So then more of the story is, well, you're a living person. Did I tell you about your straw man?
No.
I never told you about your straw man? Well, when you were born, they took your birth certificate and social security number and created an artificial person. Right. Called the straw man. Yeah, it's called the straw man. So your straw man is a fictitious entity that's attached to your ego. Because really, you're not really real. Like your personality and who you really are. I mean, it's real, it's tangible, but there's a way to be able to make that a tool. It's a utility in ourself, our ego, our persona. So they had an ability to be able to usurp it at birth and have you believe that you are the birth certificate, the social security number, and the ID that's attached to it, which that's not you, but that's the fake you. Well, that represents the scarecrow. If I only had a brain. and then the Tin Man represents the tax identification number, as well as pretty much what any of us are that has no heart and won't stand up for our own self and what's right and do, the right thing in life. And then the lion represents the courage that we no longer have. And what was he? He was a cowardly lion. So no brains, no heart, and no courage. And then Dorothy, running around with a little sidekick called Toto, which means everything. So she's everything. She already has everything. She's always had everything. So then she goes to now, this is why I brought it up. This is why I brought this up, because we were talking about the heroine. So, remember the witch threw an obstacle at her. Remember when she was going to that big, giant, huge field of flowers? Those are poppy fields. Right. That was all heroin there. So then she passed out. Well, that represents the Opium Wars, the Chinese Opium Wars. Maine, if it wasn't for Maine is actually originally the Massachusetts. It was also a border between Canada and going into the newfound colonies of the New World. So Maine is actually one of the first nation states in America ever. Ever, okay? Besides Florida, St. Augustine, which is known as the oldest city in the world, but I'm talking about up here as far as like these establishment of colonies. And then during the Revolutionary War, remember the Civil War, one of the guys in Brewer helped win the Civil War against the South and defeating the Confederation. This is one of the stories that were told here in New England. Well, where did the heroin epidemic begin?
Right.
Maine. So I'm seeing connections to history, okay? And how things are replaying themselves over and over again. So in the movie, they knew, how to slow people down is to throw heroin at people and drugs. And then how did they get Dorothy to wake up? The good wizard, the Witch of the West came and dropped some cocaine, sprinkled snow all over her. And then they woke up and then made it to the wizard and found out it was just a man behind a fucking, a curtain. And then he wanted the brain, so he gave him a diploma. So you need an education to be called smart and have credibility. What did the Tin Man get? He wanted the heart. What did he get rewarded? He got rewarded something. I can't remember, but I think the lion got a trophy.
Like poison can or something?
Well, he got the oil can is how he ended up getting free in the first place. And in fact, he was holding up that axe, and the axe is another reference towards God. And that axe he was holding up the whole entire time, which is God, which is also the axis of the world. And you start looking up these meanings behind the origins of these things. And when he dropped that, he was no longer being held by the old world and the old laws. If you read the Bible thoroughly, it's actually kind of a redemption manual. You don't read it like, hey, I gotta believe in this guy and I'm trying to be sold a religion. No, this is a way of claiming your sovereignty and your freedom back as a living person, as a living vessel. Basically, every man in this world that is enlightened to his own self and chooses to recognize his name as an idea of a logo. A name is a logo. It's not real. It's just an idea. So are you your name? So if you are you your name, do you believe you're your name?
No.
No.
Not really.
So therefore, all is Jesus Christ then. Because if you take away the name, then that means that all is one vessel. And God basically, Aloha or Elohim, whatever name you want to put it, Yeshua or Emmanuel, something about the title. The name Yeshua or Jesus just means God's salvation with us. God's salvation. That's all it means. Messiah or Christ means Messiah and anointed. And so there's the anointed also could be like, let's say we're a part of the mystery schools, me and you, okay? You come into the chamber, which is no different than the chamber in yourself. The more you learn yourself, really, you're learning me. The more you learn of me, you're learning yourself, which you become. There's no way around it. The more I teach you, you become that. So in the mystery schools, you get elevated by degrees of what you know based off your master. And even a master is always taught you're no greater than your servant. Serve your student how you would want to be served. So you're always like, that's why Jesus washed the feet of his disciples, took care of his disciples. He was like, he brought himself lower to a servant for his servants. Does this make sense? Because it's like, I see the synchronicity. I see like the depth of the message here. So in the anointed oil, there's a series of, I should look up all the recipes. I believe the recipes are found in Exodus and Deuteronomy, of where you can find these recipes which all link back to alchemy. So just like we're talking about dandelions and you making sweet fern tea and all these things, this is alchemy, bro. So when they broke down the anointed oil, there's actually 9 pounds of cannabis, or AKA cannabosum, in the anointed oil. And they pour this shit right over your fucking head. What? You don't think you're gonna be tripping fucking balls? Okay, you don't think you're going. So they're doing this at the highest levels of initiation and graduation into these. So this is where the real shamans come in, and and a shaman is a person who can see in the dark. He's a healer, the man who can see through darkness. It's really the shaman, Sha, soul, mind, soul, mind. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful fucking stuff. Shit they'll never teach you ever. Ever! So, the anointed oil is also the christening of what one would find within the same exact, I believe, conscious awakening of where one decides to truly take in the Bible as like a metaphysical manuscript, separate yourself from the world, start believing in that thoroughly, all right? And you're going to start seeing some strange shit happen. And when you do, there's going to be internal shifts to where even your own conscious self will have like this chrism, this unlocking of your own internal psyche to where that oil secretes out your third eye. And you are being christened of that oil. And that christening also goes back towards where, you're anointed and back to being holy, which is crowned. like the crown chakra, enlightened fully. So that's where I think Jesus, this is where all this comes back in again, full circle of things. That's what I believe they know. So they know by law. I think they try to prove Jesus wrong, and they found out they couldn't. Um, and then they realized they had no power. Like the more I read these Gnostic scriptures, the Jews and everybody, it's not that they didn't like him because he spoke the truth or whatever. They were losing power. They were believing in him. So they were like, do we need to kill this person? Well, that was also in scripture. That was prophesied. So all they did was by killing him, fulfill prophecy. Like to the fucking T, bro. So when I read the Bible, I now read it as like, okay, these churches run the world, right? This guy comes, claims to be the Son of God. The more you read the Bible, anybody who believes that Jesus is the Son of God is also a son and daughter of God. So you can't take that away from anybody. So if they're the son and daughter of God, then now they have just as equal authority as Christ, okay? And then so this takes more power away from the church. So this is where I think that if you read the scripture, you got to read between the lines. You got to read between the lines. You got to be smart, dude. You got to keep reading it. But yeah, it basically to me is a treaty and a law that if you follow, right now you don't own yourself, but you take the proper measures, you get your property back from the government. You operate as the government, and they can't take your rights away from you because, well, they're God-given. You'd have to consent to give them away, like everyone is doing. So, yeah, yep. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. That's a lot to say, too. That is a lot. But when I read it, I definitely see like an internal dialogue within the scripture. More of an esoteric internal reality rather than an external reality. Does that make sense? That's how I look at it. So,
Yeah, totally makes sense.
how much longer you think you'll be there before you start traveling and hoofing it?
Not sure. I'm fucking tight on funds right now. I'd still like to get a fucking pistol. A pistol's pretty much all I need.
Yeah, we're getting some strange times where it used to be like a couple $100 for a pistol. Now it's like $400 or $500 for a good pistol. And that's not even counting the ammo anymore.
Right.
Do you know anybody?
Then I gotta worry about fucking, because I'm gonna have to get it through a store, so I'm gonna have fucking Uncle Scam's gonna know what I have.
Why? Why are you going to do it that way? Why can't you find a private seller?
I can't find anybody that wants to sell something like hand to hand, you know what I mean?
Makes me miss Florida.
Everybody's hanging on to this shit.
Dude, if there's plenty of signs all around you that we are at war. There's not if we're going to war. It's we've been at war for a while. It's very subtle. You know, I don't think it's going to be like everyone thinks. Everyone's just going to go buck wild now and start killing everyone. I mean, it's got to build up into things. I think people truly will be civil-minded. There'll be a new operation of how we will conduct ourselves, but the price of ammo is a red flag enough that we are in some detrimental times. Because right now, the government doesn't have a problem buying bullets. They don't have a problem getting anything.
No, they've been stocking up on shit for
fucking
years.
Remember that? Obama administration buying fucking more rounds than the people died in the Afghanistan war, fucking AK-47s, all this stuff. And right now we're talking about what? AR-15s? Little pistols converted into... Why? Because they're easy to conceal and lightweight and fucking actually get the job done? Yeah, we're in some strange times right now.
Yeah, that's sure. I technically don't need a fucking gun, I guess. But it's more people than animals that I'm fucking want to fucking have something for. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound good saying it like that, but
The way I've been looking at it lately is like this. You know, if I'm the Bible, and the more I have a relationship with that, and then I go in and let's say I start reading this document called the Constitution, and I start reading that Declaration of Independence, the more I read that, I'm that, not anybody else. So when I start getting down to that well-regulated and armed militia, if you look at a nation, it's got a military, it's got police, it's got things. Is your immune system not a military?
right.
I mean, it's in there, it's at a defense capacity, right? Taking care of you.
Right.
So we have these internal selves as a nation that's to require military, navy. We swim. Are we not aquatic? We can still jump in the water and start swimming around. And, we're land creatures. We are water creatures. We kind of have gotten given the best of all worlds as a human being, or whatever you want to call it, a god-like feature made in the image of God. The only thing we can't do, which I'm not even sure if that's true, based off the conscious awareness of the brain, for all I know, they dumbed us down that we can't fly anymore. For all I know, we used to fly. We could have probably moved shit with our brain. We probably moved stuff telepathically and could use our brain and senses and intuition to do things that based off dumbing down, man, because they got us believing that we come from monkeys. When I look at humanity, we're becoming fucking monkeys. We're becoming monkeys. My grandparents were, I would say, I don't know, I think consciously, as far as like making critical thinking, people seemed a lot smarter back then than they do now. I'm not going to lie. And the way that children are, if we don't start leading by a better example, that's what they're only learning by example, not by explanation. So we got to develop our own examples as characters to lead the future generations. That's what I realized. They, just like they were preparing for what's happening right now 10 years ago, they've already got our children by the balls, bro. We're not doing anything to stop them for that, neither. We're not doing anything. They got it all. They got the government. They control the money. So therefore they control the taxes and where that goes. So they tell you to go to work, pay taxes. Do we even have a say of where the taxes go? No. What the fuck is wrong with people? But the people that go to work every day will tell you what you need to do. That's interesting. That is interesting. I'm kind of confused at the current position that our country is in. Its society. And how people operate.
I'm not confused. I ain't confused at all, man.
I think why I'm confused is that no one's figuring it out. How come no one's figuring it out? How come everyone keeps doing it? No, listen, the conversations that we're having right now, I mean, literally, I'm recording the conversation because this is podcast material. This is something that someone's going to want to listen to so that they can break the spell of that someone else out there is not aware of this stuff. Most people are not aware of this stuff. So that's what's confusing to me about it. When you go to work, you stay to yourself. I used to have to work next to a new guy every single day. And I would talk to them, and then I would ask him, does anybody talk like the way that I'm talking to? Have you ever heard of this stuff? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh. Well, obviously everything happens for a reason. This person needs to know this information. But how many people do you think are having this conversation right now?
I'd like to think a bunch of people, but not many.
So we're in some strange times right now where the collective population is allowing themselves to be under a hypnosis? You think it's comfort?
Yeah, I think it's the luxuries, the fucking, how they've made it just, they make things just convenient for everybody, you know what I mean? They just have to push a button or fucking, as long as you pay, we'll take care of this for you, you know what I mean?
Well,
As long as you follow the status quo, they'll make everything comfy for you.
it's like everything I was talking about with the Codex Element Antarius. And then you look at cashless society, which is really, that's really what they are aiming for. And there's a lot of videos now being pumped to where people like me and you, we're being considered old. We're old now. So, hooray for us. We're the old people now. Okay. So, all right. But that means that the young people are willingly, because I think they play video games, they're on their phone every day, they're accepting the apps, they're on the Play Store. We were raised in the development of this technology being ushered into us. It's not been out that very long. So we don't know what kind of effects it's going to have on the human psychological system, how it really is going to affect us 20, 30 years from now. But
Well, just look at how it's gotten just since it started, though.
Just since it started. Exactly. And remember, we were born in an era where there was no internet. This technology did not exist. And now is it starting to exist between, I mean, shit, the very first porn site that ever got out was only a few videos on there. Now you have endless amounts of fetishes and subsections of like tagged ideas of what to look for. Thousands of videos. So now it's like, wow, this is disturbing.
Anything you type, dude, anything you type in a search is going to come up.
Yep. You go on Google now, which is the most famous search engine, but you got Firefox. There's many other search engines you can go on. And now you've got libraries now finally becoming digital age libraries. Remember, there was no digital libraries before. You had to go to the library and look these things up. And even then, no one was asking the question. So if you found the answers or information, you were very much alone. Not a megalithic society. So now we have information right at our fingertips. Me and you, right as soon as Facebook and all these things come out, most popular thing was cat videos, cute puppies, music videos.
Right.
Right. No one once again caring about politics or anything like that. Explosion of technology leading to Pokemon Go. They got an app for that. Remember that saying all the time? They got an app for that.
Right.
They got an app for that. You know? So pretty soon the stuff that we're talking about is going to be like me and you right now looking up music from the 20s. Or, like, is there anything that me and you can really find from the 20s that's authentic? And is not like a copy or something of a residual echo of it that's not authentic? No. Like, no, nothing.
Everything's digitalized.
Home video's gone. Nobody's making home videos anymore. What are you talking about? VHS, what?
Where the fuck you gonna come up with a fucking reel-to-reel of like fucking Howlin' Wolf for the fucking 30s?
No way.
You know what I mean?
I that's what I'm trying to say. So finding real authentic shit, newspaper articles, anything like that, you're not going to find a hard copy. It's going to all be internet. Photo albums. Remember back in the day, you'd go to your grandma's house, your mom's house, your own mom, my mom. Photo albums. Now, Facebook.
No, they pull their phone out.
Yep. On the phone now. So nothing's sacred enough to be a sentimental artifact that is why, well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do this right now. I mean, I would like to take more time to get to the next chapters of these things within my, adventures and evolvement of consciousness of taking these things seriously. Because when you're a kid, you discover things that's interesting. But when you get older and you rediscover it, it gets even more interesting. So when I was reading Luke chapter 3, okay, in the Bible, it talked about, it says right here, it says, and the Holy Ghost descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him, and a voice came from heaven which said, thou art my beloved Son, in thee I am well pleased. So this is the heavens, whether it be the mind or real life. And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, in parentheses, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli, which was the son. So now this is where it's going now. So between 23 all the way to the very end of the chapter, it talks about, dude, this is great. It says, it's insane. It basically says, which was the son of Mathat, which was the son of Levi, which was the son of Malachi, which was the son of Janna, which was the son of Joseph, which was the son of Matthias, or Matthias, which is the son of Amos, which was the son of Nethium, or Nahum, which was the son of Esla, or Esli, which was the son of Nagi, which was the son of Maath. So it's Ma'ath. So the son of Ma'ath, which is the son of Matthias, which was the son of Semia, which was the son of Joseph, which was the son of Judah, which was the son of Joanna, which was the son of Risha, which is the son of Zorobabel, which was the son of Salathiel, which is the son of Neri, which is the son of Malachi, or Melchi, which is the son of Adi, which is the son of Kasam, which was the son of Elmordam, which is the son of which is the son of Jose, which was the son of Elmezer, or Elezer, which is the son of, so it goes all the way down, which then says, which was the son of David. This is verse 31, verse 32. It goes all the way down, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. And it goes all the way down, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So they documented everyone's fucking granddaddy, all the way to fucking Jesus. Okay? Pardon my French, born near Canada. So my point that I'm trying to take is, do you have any ancestors that know who they might be related to all the way to Shem or Ham? You got any granddads? Are you keeping record is what I'm saying. Because apparently they were. And did you know that it was your duty as not only an American, but what's your last name, Smalls? So actually it would be called the Somalian. As a Somalian, to document your own nation in heritage in a Bible. That's what they say. That's by law. So you're to be record of all births, marriages, deaths, and your whole fucking family tree in a hard copy. It's your duty to keep records of that along with all photo albums. Are we doing this today?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. But in common law, that's exactly what it is our fucking duty and right to do. But we, as now peasants, serfs, this goes all the way back to what I was talking about in the beginning of talking about the straw man. You are born.
I have traced the McLeods back like 600 years. They've kept records that long.
Then if I were you, I would go and then get right back and in touch with that ancestry and then just spend most of your time preserving that and getting affiliated with a trust. There has to be a trust affiliated with these. Just like what I was just about to say. When you're born, they have this thing called a live birth record. A live birth record. Then they convinced parents somehow in the 30s to give that document over to your hospital, which is also known, and by the way, there was a secret society is known as the hospitals. Back in the day, there used to be a society as the hospitals. I'm not even lying. And then it was adopted eventually by the church. But so the hospital is also known as a warehouse where animals are being born in. And then what happens is you give that live birth record, which is your property, over to the state, which then this state has a thing called a register, which is like a clerk. Then this gets traded for a birth certificate, a certificate of birth, and a social security number, with an account opened up in your name somehow, and now you are a trustee, created at birth now, and so where did your property just go? Where the fuck did your property just go? And who the fuck is this new guy? Printed out on this thing called a certificate. A certificate. The fuck is a certificate? Start looking up these words in the Black's Law Dictionary. Dude, we got some fraud going on here. Fraud. And I'll tell you why it's fraud, because did anybody tell you this stuff?
No.
Well, under any contract that you are signing into, whether it be you and your government or even me doing business, there's a thing called full disclosure. And if you're not being disclosed of all the facts, the contract is null and void and fraud. Counterfeit. But there's this thing called implied consent. Implied consent. And that's exactly how they operate whenever they pull you over. License and registration. Do you know why I pulled you over? What gives you the implication that I consented to you pulling me over, you stupid fuck? Get back in your vehicle! Who the hell are you? Who the fuck are you? Oh, walking around in the color of law, acting all decorated in some kind of form of authority. Why? Because I'm supposed to believe it? Going back to the Wizard of Oz. If I only had a brain. Well, here's a degree. Well, look at that. They told me I was smart because they gave me a piece of paper that said so. Where's your piece of paper? If I only had a brain. This guy's walking around with a shiny medallion called a badge. Like somehow that makes him authoritative. I can go on for days. Days. If you read the Black's Law Dictionary of the 3rd edition of authority, the authorized. I had to find the word authorized because when you read the Holy Bible, it says it's the King James 1611 authorized version, right? So what that means is that it's clothed with authority. So you could sit there and take that Bible and throw it right in the trash and say it means nothing. But let me tell you something. That's authorized. That's a fucking authorized document right there. That's law, buddy. So you might as well read it because that's a treaty. Those are treaties.
Right.
Those are remedies of law. And if you don't know it, then it's easy to fall into a trap. You know?
Right.
That's what I see of it. You know, that's why I believe, just like watching TV, that's authorized programming. It was authorized. That's why it's so detrimental of people like me right now documenting these conversations, because these are not authorized conversations. By them, anyways. They're authorized by you and me. Protected by the 10th and 11th Amendment. And the 9th Amendment as well. And, you know, in fact, I reserve all rights delegated to me by God and protected by the Constitution without prejudice, recognized under the UCC 1-308. Yes. Yes. That way, if this video is ever threatened against, and I can use it in the court of law, and protected by the people, operating as the people, not a person. Now, we're under these, it's the same rights that they have by common law and given them by God, is how they were able to create platforms like YouTube, Facebook, fucking Google. But when you're signing into terms and conditions, they're trying to get you to sign over your rights and your authority. Does this make sense?
Yep.
So you're going to want to get that gun. And, you know, what I would do is I would buy a copy of the Constitution and a Holy Bible and start carrying it around with you. And whenever you get confronted by people, be like, well, under the Fifth Amendment, if you're going to use my name, it's my just and private property. It's my private property, so you can only use it with compensation. So if you're going to write it down, especially on a ticket or a citation, I'm going to charge you personally $1 million. So for every ticket that you're trying to issue to gain municipal income off me, to pay the tax and the bankruptcy to the municipal government known as, let's say, the county of York in the state, which is a corporation of Maine, okay, not the territory, okay, it's not of we the people. There is a separation between church and state, so you're talking to the church of Christ. I'm the church. I'm operating as a secured party church member. I don't have a name. It's none of your business. None ya. Mind your fucking business, bro. I'm minding mine. What are you doing? Are you deputizing me? Well, I will say, I understand that what you're doing, and I respect what you're doing because you're operating and out here trying to pirate people and extort money out of them under bribery and also, what do they call that? Do you equate coercion? Do you equate violence and coercion with consent? So you're trying to coerce me into doing business with you. Okay, well, you are. You want to do business with me? I'm going to charge you right now. I'm going to write out a bill that if you use my name right now, because it says it right in the Fifth Amendment, I'll read it out to you because I'm not a fucking idiot. So let's do this together. Seeing how you're supposed to serve and protect the Constitution and also my rights, right? Well, let's see how good you're doing. Let's see here. Okay, first off, it says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime. So am I being convicted of a crime? Do you have evidence that I'm committing a crime right now? What kind of crime am I committing right now, okay? Unless on the presentment or indictment of a grand jury. Is this a jury right now? Are you indicting me right now? In cases an arising of land, so we're in the land right now, or naval forces, or in the militia. Well, I'm the fucking militia. So is this a grand jury? All right, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Well, of course we've been at war since fucking 1871. The Civil War has been going on, and the bankruptcy of 1933, and the HJR Act, and then the, well, I got it right here, actually. I wrote it down. It says, I believe it's right here. These are things I'm going to go study. Hopefully, I'm setting the intentions. But I look at when the acts pass, you have the Arbitration Act of 1925, the Truth in Lending Act, the HJR 192 Act of 1933. You have the Organic Act of 1871, which is where they suspended the original Constitution of America and then created a new constitution called the Organic Act of 1871, where they tried to get the people to go along with it, but it was the Constitution that we're under today. The Amendatory Act of March 9th, 1933, and then the Trading with the Enemy Act of October 6th, 1917, because after 1913, we had the Federal Reserve Act, which then led to World War I in 1914, and then shortly after that, Trading with the Enemy Act. When you combine the Trading with the Enemy Act and also the HJR 192 Act and the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938, as well as the Maternity Act of 1921 and the Emergency Banking Relief Act and the Amendatory Act of 1933, this is where they started to, with those acts, they said this right here. If you want to be an American, you need to reverse your status as a secured party creditor. You need to reverse your status from being a 13th, 14th Amendment slave citizen. Okay, when they freed the slaves under the 1871, they created a 14th Amendment servant slave, a U.S. citizen, because there was never anything such thing as a U.S. citizen. only American citizens
Right.
or slaves. So the newfound government created a 14th and 13th Amendment citizen, which then, by us operating under insolvency, bankruptcy, is how we got bankrupt courts under the color of law. So whenever a police officer is pulling you over, if you have not physically hurt somebody, okay, then you're not committing a crime. If I were you, if you ever get an automobile, right on the back of that motherfucker, and glow in the dark fucking silver reflective paint so that in the middle of the night, whenever the lights shine on it, it shines back at them. It says private citizen, private automobile, not for hire. Put it right on your property. Private property, private citizen, not for hire. Dude, that's what I did for every vehicle I've ever had. I ride around the Constitution, my Bible, my law fucking documents, law fucking everything right on the dashboard. Man, no one ever fucks with me, bro. Private vessel. I'm not even joking, bro. So, here's what I'm not even joking. So here's what it says in the Constitution. Check this out. Oh, I didn't finish what I was saying. Because remember now, we're going on land, naval, which is the naval force is a representation of the law of the sea, and maritime and admiralty law, which is exactly what they say that you are always operating under when you're operating in commerce or at a far higher capacity, is maritime law. So that's where the naval forces come in, or in the militia, which is supposed to be you as a American free citizen, armed to the teeth and protected by the Second Amendment, which it says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. What did I just say? A free state? Oh shit. The right of the people. Ooh, who? The people. Oh, the people. To keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So who's the fucking militia? The people. So then it says this. So it says, okay, nor shall any person, which is a subject, be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any crime case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property. Check that out. Without due process of law, which means you have a right to a judge, jury, fucking Supreme Court, taking it all the way to the common law of the land, which means you're offering fucking demurs, you're pulling out affidavits, you're in an affidavit, an unrebutted affidavit is fact and truth and sovereignty, which means that you're operating as the truth, bro. Check this out. Now you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Is your name private property?
Yes.
There we go. So if you're going to use my name, put that fucker on a ticket. You're using my name, my private property, and you shall not use that without just compensation. Anytime you use my name on a fucking piece of paper, I'm going to charge you $1 million. Thank you very much. And it's backed up by the Constitution. Check this out. We're going to skip it down. We're going to go to the 9th Amendment. So the 9th Amendment says this. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights. The enumeration, which means that the enumeration of certain rights. Enumerated means that it's actually been written down. Unenumerated, which means that it's not written down. So the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So he's saying that just because the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So he's basically saying that just because there's rights here, the people have more rights than what actually exists in the Constitution. You have more rights than what is even being mentioned in the Constitution, protected by the 9th Amendment. What does the 10th Amendment say? The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the state, are preserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So he's saying that all the rights belong to the people, not the government. And they are not given to the government by the Constitution itself, but respectively. okay? But respectively to the people. That's it. That's what it's saying. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are preserved to the states respectively or to the people. So it's saying all the powers are delegated to them. Now here's the 11th Amendment. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity. So really, the laws that operate today are not allowed to operate in equity, but we give them permission to do so. And you are a physical body, which is equity. So whenever you go to courts, they're trying to deal in equity, which means to deal with you as merchandise. You. So it says this. It says, inequity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens, capital citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Well, they're basically saying that you are a foreign state. Because after the 10th Amendment, which is the original Bill of Rights, it says that the 11th Amendment was ratified. I'll tell you, because now this is going now after it's 1794, right before the 1800s, okay, is when it was ratified. And this is after 1776, when the first Bill of Rights was drafted. Now we're going into 1794. We're becoming kind of bankrupt. We're becoming kind of fucked. So then the 12th Amendment, 1803, talking about a new government completely. A whole new government's being created, because now it's saying shit that was already mentioned in the original articles. The electors shall meet their respective states and vote by ballot. So by the 12th Amendment, now they're saying that voting is no longer a right, it's a privilege. And they're telling you how you're gonna vote. And this is where they removed the 13th Amendment, the original 13th Amendment. So if you study history and you study the Constitution, these motherfuckers, that's an instruction manual to bind their authority and their power and give it all to you. You are the government. So if you want to go out and get a firearm, by all means, you have every right to. Really, I'm trying to get it to where I'm a government agent and I can have equivalency to tap into the military budget. Why not? Get myself a tank. Get myself some AKs and shit. Right? What? Why not? That's my money.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to make war with them. I want to have as much authority and rights as them. Because without us, they wouldn't have any power at all. If we stopped going to work and even believing in their money, you'd see this whole fucking shit show change real quick.
Yeah.
If we,
nobody gonna do it, no, man.
if we started giving a fuck about our fellow neighbor and look at them as us, that we are a nation, and started changing our ideas and stuff and how we look at people, how we look at this place. You know, the way they say it is this: we're already bankrupt, and the gold of America and its bankruptcy already paid for everything. So we go to work for debt, because money is debt. It's the debt in the system is what that money is in the first place. I mean, the money itself is debt. So we're going to work for debt. Why would we want to do that?
Exactly.
So if we could start realizing that everything in America's, I mean, right now, that's why they're doing what they're doing, is because the information that I'm talking about is starting to become, this is where once it becomes mainstream, they're fucked. They have no power over us anymore. Jesus is here. We're here to kick over the money changers, clear out the temple. I got my bullwhip. It's time to go. The bankers got to go. You know what we used to do to bankers? Hang them. Treason. Whatever happened to those days? We got cops literally got people in a chokehold. Killing them over a Lucy cigarette. Killing people over cigarettes. Cigarettes, bro. Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Cigarettes. Cigarettes. But hope. Shit. We got pedophiles in Washington and Hollywood, dude, going to Epstein Island. Burn the records. Burn the records. Hush, hush. Give him COVID. Hush, hush. What's next? School shooting? What's next? Hush, hush. War in Ukraine? Hush, hush. Convoy. Patriots standing up to the government? Good. Glorify that. Hush, hush. Burn the records. Kill them. Vaccines. Vaccines. Vaccine them all. That's the solution. Vaccines. Give them heroin. What's that?
I hear you.
I don't know. I mean, it's not... I think people are missing what's going on here. I think they really are... You know, I'm going to go into this Codex Alimentarius and go a little bit back over some other records, because I think that's what they want, is us to forget. They want us to forget. Everyone forgets.
Yeah.
They want us to forget. They want you to forget. They want you to forget. Yeah. We can push positive vibes all day long. These motherfuckers got their hands on a pen. They say the pen's mightier than the sword. Do you believe it?
Yeah.
Well, what do you see going on? What do you feel is going on? I'd like to hear your opinion of everything I just said, especially. Because it's heavy.
I think you got it right down to a fucking T, man. I can tell you doing your homework.
Yeah, yeah. You know, these days, you start talking like this, you start movements. You cause ripples. You then, it can be dangerous. People like you and I right now need to get together and start drafting established documents, signing it just like the Constitution, and creating new forms of government. Today. We need to. Cheers. Amen. Get back to our real fundamental roots. This is what they wanted to do away with. It's people like us. This is what they were after in the 80s. This is what they wanted to do away with. Our generations. Kill our families.
Anybody that's ever tried, man, is fucking... It turns into like Waco, man. They're gonna call us right-wing extremists, and they're gonna come in and fucking...
You just let him know that exactly what you're accusing us of is exactly what you're guilty of. You might want to start burning all your paperwork and all the files and everything, because you are unaware of your own self. You can't be blaming me of what you're guilty of. You need to watch your tongue. Okay? That's what you're doing. If you pay very close enough attention, exactly what the accuser of is the one he is guilty of. Is what he's guilty of. Okay? That's what I noticed of these people. We're going to war on terror. We're the terrorists. Okay? Then it slowly went to us globally taking over other countries. And we thought over here in America that we were the good guy fighting the fucking boogeyman well over there in seas. Now what we said that they hate us for is what they really do hate us for. And we don't even see it. And then now we got a division going on. Because these people, they got soft hands, man. I never see them ever go to war. You'll never see a president on the front line like it used to be, where your king would fight beside his warriors and his troops. You don't see that anymore. Not at all. Even your general sends out other people to go out there and fight those battles. I'm sorry, after 9/11, your military is a merc for hire. They're murderers, you know? And if you've been murdered, to me, that's another word for martyred. This morning, I was waking up, making my coffee. It was like, getting murdered. Getting murdered. Damn, they're like the same thing. Wow. Where do we get these words? Just convert the word a little bit. How is it any different? Shalom. Happy Shabbat. Shalom. Today's a good Sabbath day. It's a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day. I don't know. I got woke up. I got pulled back into some stuff, and I started to think about it. If we forget what's going on, we're no different than this cancer culture that's like, take down the statues. They're racist. Dude, you can't erase racism when the one who created racism is the one who's trying to tell you to take down racism, which is really culture. It's history.
Yep.
It's you. It's your freedom. If they can tear down the Articles of Confederation, then they tear down the foundation of the actual country.
Right. They're trying.
Yep. Well, that's why people like us need to sit down, create history books, combat these people, create a new publishing company. Just like, I don't know, I don't trust old Mr. Musk or whatever, Elon Musk. You know? What's a good musky cologne? Brusque?
I don't know, man. I don't wear that shit.
Neither do I, but I remember when I was a kid, old people did. They would wear this brute shit. And I'm like, ew, this is trash. I don't even know why they would put that on them. How is that even a good smell? That old Spice.
That's like some Avon shit.
Remember that old Spice shit that people would wear?
Yeah. With the white bottle and the little top.
Yeah. Yeah, that little cork. Shaking. Yeah, that stuff stinks. Even putting that on your face burns. Yeah, that's conditioning. Everything everyone's done is...
Look up the sweet fern, man. It's pretty fucking good stuff.
Let me write it down right now. It's being documented too, so we're recording it. Now I'm writing it down. Look up sweet fern. Medicinal. Natural plants. Talk to Smalley. I'm going to write that down. Yeah, I like to document key components of my day now. I realize no one's keeping record of history at all. They're just not. It's so easy for people to forget reality and forget what happened last week and then just go right back into the fucking... It's like, you know what it's like, dude? It's like a big wind that comes in and there's a bunch of dust on the floor and it starts to actually blow the dust up and pick it up and lift it up a little bit and make all this headway, and then all of a sudden it starts to settle back down and then it's like it never even happened. It's unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time since the radio show documenting just about everything, and I think that's something that I'm being pulled back into, because that's what I've been going back to the internet, looking back up stuff that I remember. Gone. It's like it never even existed. And they're deleting videos that I've put together. They're deleting very specific key shit that, they deleted show 6, which was the Mark of the Beast that I did. Anything Bible prophecy talking about the Mark of the Beast, vaccinations, RFID chips, or anything like that is bad, is being deleted off the internet. Implications of the Pope. That video I sent you today, I'm going to make a video of that stuff, talking about those implications and certain stuff, because when I came across this video now, I not find the video that I found that originally brought me to the stuff that I started to find coincidences to. Like I just looked up Codex Alimentarius, the truth, or truth. Then I find 60 Minutes from Australia 4 years ago, Dr. Fauci in there talking about vaccines. And all these doctors being like, everybody needs to get vaccines. And it felt more like, I don't know, a commercial ad. Like, get your vaccines. And I'm like, this is strange. And it was 2018. And then, so I looked up, well, when did supposedly these things become, as far as the supposed COVID, reserve all rights delegated me by God and protected by the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I'm invoking my rights. I guess every time we say COVID-19, we have to invoke our First Amendment right and reserve all rights and recognize under the UCC 1-308. Yes. So, if you want to know, 1-308 is the UCC Uniform Commercial Code that is supposed to marry and dance right beside the common law and the Constitution, which then is how now people are getting wrapped up into what we call statutory and commercial law. Okay, so are you a corporation walking? I mean, you can be. You know, are you Nike or are you Chris, the living man?
Just me, man.
The living man, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then you would operate in a church common law capacity. So if you're the church in common law, I highly recommend you be walking around with your Bible and your fucking Constitution. And then that way you'd be like, well, what church are you affiliated with? The Church of Chris. Well, what do you believe? I believe in Chris and the Father, for I and the Father am one. Oh. Well, what's your purpose here? Same as yours. Not getting very far, are they? No, they're not. Do you have any documents? Yes, you pull out the Bible. I don't need anything to back me up. I have this right here. I read it every day, you know, thoroughly. Thank you so much for recognizing the religion of God. Animism. Spirit and all things. You know what? It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you Jesus Christ? I believe you're Jesus Christ. Start calling them Jesus Christ. Call them angels. You are what you think. You project. Project who you are on other people. It's nice to meet you. You're Jesus Christ, right? There you go. Just start calling everybody Jesus Christ. It's fucking mind-blowing stuff, I know. But the more you wrap yourself into it and you go deeper into it, you know what it is? I could feel other people trying to figure it out in their brain and compute it. And then that's why I realized I need to stay away from people. But okay. I've said too much. I love you. Goodbye. I wasn't supposed to say that. That's what it is. I realize it now. I'm not allowed to talk and say certain things to people. And certain things I am allowed to say. You know? You know what it is? You are what you know. That's why knowledge is power. And what you believe is the solidification of it. And this is where I think people come in and try to destroy and usurp and break down your belief system. But now they're really going to war with themselves. I need to write this. Oh, I'm documenting it and recording it right now. Perfect! Yes! All right. I don't really need to write anything down. It's in there. Sweet Fern. All right. What time is it? Okay. It's 11:40. I do have things that I need to take care of and actually get done to keep the wheel going and true to the stuff that I'm doing. Even though sometimes I'm walking and swimming in uncharted territories, that's when you know you're on the right path. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Going into the unknown. All right, brother, I fucking love you. I'm going to let you go. And, yeah, I got some work to do. I got research and work to do. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some little foraging and shit.
Yeah, any research you find on that, because I believe we're going into a food shortage, and I live right down the road from some. I'm just going to keep getting comfortable where I'm at, because as much as I want to see myself in all these different places, I need to look at the reality that these people have people plugged into every single day a television. No matter how much I will sometimes watch like Netflix and, you know, I mean, it helps me, but it doesn't help me. I don't know. There's like a level where it's like, well, just relax. Just relax. It's okay. And
Yeah, I haven't watched any TV in fuck since I started doing the tent thing. Really.
dude, really, that right there is impressive in itself because now you're totally unplugged even from movies now. So now you're not even going to watch like Netflix. So now there is no programming at all. No programming. None. So that means that the brain is what? Refreshing itself all the time now, rebuilding itself.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yeah, you must feel connected one with nature completely now.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
You know, that has a lot to do with I think our physical makeup and biological body too. Maybe the more that you're away from people and the idea of COVID, you'll never get sick really again.
Well, my body fought it. Like I said, I'm on the cusp of it now. So I mean, I don't think I'll get it again. My immune system's pretty good.
How's work going? Have you been off since the vid?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Last Saturday, man, fucking my legs started fucking hurting like crazy. And I thought I was just dehydrated. You know what I mean? And then Sunday, my whole fucking body hurt, and that was like that right up till Wednesday.
You know, I meet these people, and a lot of them try to get me into yoga, and I think I'm gonna take up some of these stretches and really break up these meridians in my body and see what it might benefit me as far as doing maximization of stretching and seeing how that builds up maybe my energy. Okay, so I'm thinking that if I stretch to optimum and taking up Tai Chi, something where I'm like working with the energy of the natural flow of the universe and the body and getting out of judgment of both masculine and feminine working together because that's really what it is. Like, men don't dance anymore. You ever notice that? Men are not really, so we're not connecting into our feminine rhythm, all right? And this no shame of the self, of judging the self. Like everything's gay. Oh, that's gay. So, what we're not doing is we're not allowing the body in its universal marriage of unlocking meridians in itself, getting in tune with itself, okay? This is what I'm hearing while I talk to you and we talk about these things, which then will, I believe, optimize your immune system and unlock your brain into another heightened sense of awareness, but yet calmness at the same time. Completely just boom. Because if I was living out in the fucking woods and I had a lot of free time on my hands, what would I be doing? I would be getting in touch with my body. I'd probably be out there like, hey, and I'd be fucking setting up this huge giant fire and shit, and I'd be fucking like dancing around it, doing these chants and intention and getting one with God and the intention of life and maximizing my mind. And I'd be like, I know that what I want, and the more that I want it and then let it go, I'll become. But the longer I want it, it's like, so then you're like, and the more that you're away from like, you know, the idea of money and fucking fame and some kind of girl and bullshit life, you're like, dude, you'd be like, dude, fuck missing a leg day at the gym. You'd be the gym, bro. You'd be up there like climbing trees, fucking, your whole life would become nature, bro. And that's what I would be out there doing. I wouldn't have any other choice. I would connect so far down in the earth element. I think I would take on that natural fucking my natural ancestor, which is, I believe, Native American, bro, shaman, like way down to the core, bro. I'm not even joking. I'd be like wearing feathers and shit, killing animals, wearing its fucking hides. I'd be like, because yeah, I'd be like, I wear what I am, you know? Yeah, fuck a totem. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you gonna be out there, Rambo style? Got the knife in your fucking. You're like coming out of the bog. Got like the black fucking mud all over your face, you know? You're like hidden like in the movie Predator, you know?
No, I'm more like that. You know that fucking that wizard that was in the woods in that Harry Potter movie?
Okay, I've seen some. Yes, yes, yes. Malachi or
Yeah, I'm that guy.
nice. So you're gonna be like a hobbit in the middle of the woods eventually.
Yeah.
What, but a wizard guy? I love it. I can see that. I can see this. I'm pretty much the same guy too. I like being nomadic. I feel like people get too comfortable, but yet, if you don't have roots, you can't have a library. You can't have a comfort zone. You're not gonna have a research place. You're not gonna have a place to be able to network. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm seeing what I need now as I'm starting to develop a sense of roots. I need a box of paper, forms. I need to start getting familiar with forms, understanding the definition of the forms, what the forms mean, why we have these forms. Where did the forms come from? I want to know why we have forms now. Because if you're going to operate, if you're not going to war with the government anymore, okay? You're not going to war with the government anymore. Not making war with the enemy, making peace with the enemy. Which means I got to operate the same way the enemy does. How's the enemy work? Forms and documents.
Yeah.
That's it. Forms and documents. Tell me I'm wrong. Records. Affidavits of truth. Affidavits. Everything gets passed by bills, affidavits of truth. Yeah, I'm telling you the absolute honest to God's truth. This is stuff they don't want you to know. And do you think it's best that some people stay asleep?
No. I wish everybody'd wake the fuck up, man, but it ain't gonna happen.
What do you think would happen if everybody did wake up?
I believe that they put the military on us. Like, what do you mean by everybody, though? You know what I mean?
I mean, like, okay, let's say.
You mean like everybody, like even the people in the military will
No.
wake up?
Yeah. Okay, so like, let's put it this way. Best way, everybody wakes up, right? Not only does nobody go to work, but they don't even go to vote. And it's totally seen. Bank runs, we don't believe in banks anymore. So there's nothing to run. You have no more power over us because we're not going to give it to you. You bleed blood. Your suit is just an illusion. You read books and you operate on language of deception. By appearing to look wismatic, that must mean I'm fucking stupid. Because if you're going to operate in a language that I can't understand, then you're obviously insulting me. And the more that becomes more of a proper platform that the world has to look up to pristine authoritative figures and daddies and fucking mommies pushing decisions towards us and making those decisions for the future of our children, what the fuck have we done? Because right now I'm looking at people that are 50s and 60s right now like they're children. Sorry to say, but get your feet off the fucking gas. Stop voting. Because your voting participatory fucking, your participation to this place called life has got us to where we are right now.
Exactly.
So please, get the fuck out of the way now. I'm 38. I'm taking the torch back. My parents, well, the only thing I can do is forgive them. Because just like a child that didn't know any better, I don't want to hold against them what they've done, but I can let them know. Hopefully they go sit in, I don't even need to tell them to go sit in the corner. They're already over there. And I tell them to shut the fuck up. Please. I don't want any advice. I don't want to hear you cry. If you're going to go cry, go start a community somewhere over at the McDonald's in the retired section where it says handicap and shit.
Yeah,
You know those old.
My mom totally is not involved. Like, she wants no involvement in what I'm doing right now.
Oh, of course, because she don't believe in it. They have words for people like you that they created in the English language to demonize people like you. It's called heathen, heretic, bum, okay? And Christ. They'll call you a Christ and then kill you. Kill the Christians! They weren't even called Christians. They were called the Nazarene because they followed the man of the Nazarene. He was a Nazarene. And a Nazarene was a person. So really, I come from Beverly. So I'm a Beverly. And Beverly, I looked up this before too, the word and the meaning of Beverly. This is nothing fascinating. It wasn't anything too fucking fancy. And really, I don't even like to say that that's where, I don't believe that I'm from these places that they said because of the hush that they said I was from. Beverly meaning. Yeah, a beaver or a stream or a meadow. So it's a stream or a meadow. But it means beaver. Just like going down to a girl. Oh, beaver field. Oh, beaver. I mean, I've seen beavers. There's nothing wrong with a beaver. A beaver meaning. Semi-aquatic, broad-tailed rodent that is native to North America. Bridget beavered. Why do they call it a beaver? Yeah, it's a woman's public area. That's literally what it means in slang. So the private area, it's basically her. Yeah. So the spiritual meaning is helps people understand the dynamics of teamwork and to appreciate each individual's talents and contributions in order to accomplish anything. So really, it's a builder, mind, body, and soul, and symbolizes creativity, creation, cooperation, and persistence, and harmony. So when you're saying Beverly, we're saying basically a field of people, of creators that are working in cooperation and persistence and harmony with each other. This makes sense now. So when you think of the spiritual connotation, and dude, that's why I kind of like Darwin, Charles Darwin. I think they misconstrued a lot of his theories. I think he was just observing nature and then trying to articulate it, watching insects, watching birds, and then so by this acute observation and spending many hours in documentation of what he had seen through animal species in life. Because I mean, like, how old are you? 44? So the years you've been walking this planet. And finally now you're coming to the conclusion to be where you are now. That took a long time, but not really. That's only 4.4 decades. Right now someone just turned 10 and they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And here you are, 3 decades after him, 3.4 decades after him, and you're like, I'm gonna fuck this, I'm dropping. Oh, bitch! This shit is a fraud! Okay, and this kid's getting ready to what? Jump right in with a ready-made smile, putting on a helmet and everything. Okay? I'm only 3.8. So what do I really know? What am I leaving behind? Yeah, that's how I look at life. This is what I think about. This is how I look at shit. We have fucked ourselves completely. So, in however many years Charles Darwin was alive, he was documenting his studies of, I guess, this idea of human evolution. But how is there an evolution of what? All right, sperm becomes human. There's evolution right there. That's evolution. Wow. Consciousness. All right. I found that there was a discovery of this thing called a Homo nedley or a Neldy. It's a human before humans. Another race that's not human but human. Explain that to me. The Homo nedley. You ever heard of this? You still there? Oh, I lost him. His phone probably died, which happens. And you know me. It's called the Homo naledi. The Homo naledi is a species of archaic human discovered in 2013 in the Rising Star Cave, cradle of humankind, South Africa. It's funny how they say the cradle of humankind is Mesopotamia, but then there's ancient information that actually leads to Africa being the original motherland. It's strange if you look up the song Cobblestone by the band Midnight. It actually says this stuff within the lyrics of it. And so I found that to be really, really interesting. Yeah, he said his phone died. He loves me. Uh, Lost you. Plug the phone in. Love you, bro. I knew it. So, yep. To our many problems. Under the guise of so, I'm going to do what I can to get this video somehow together, leading to the video on top of it, leading to information shortly after that with good old-fashioned Fauci and his affiliations with the future manifestations of these things. And what's sad is that, you know, a part of me is like, well, there's nothing I can do to control it. I think it's the fact right now of historical precedents that if someone is not keeping record and documenting exactly what's going on between every move that is being made, between the right and the left, with a non-biased opinion, neither. You can't just be in there being like, well, I support this guy but not this guy, because you're already divided now. And a house that stands divided will not stand. So you have to already unplug yourself from the situation and realize this is a stage set of actors. They're all just actors on a stage. You've got rulers following orders being presented to them by their bosses, just like anyone else. And they are being forced to complete an agenda set up that I believe kind of correlates in the idea of what me and my friends, and, you know, you got a dualistic persona out there. Your, you know, your muddled waters, your duality. But Operation Revelations is what we see in front of us. And I figured I'd come back on this channel and throw some gold on here for, you know, the geopolitical spectrum, the rise of the Fourth Reich, if you will, the SSN, Subliminal Sanity News, but in a historical precedence, as Judas Crowley coming in back and keeping track of what you've heard this far. And if you like what you heard, please give us a thumbs up, share us among your friends, and if you got any information that you'd like to share, hit us up on Fascist Book. You can find us Subliminal Sanity Radio on Fascist Book, and you can message us. We'll be there, and we'll let you know what's going on, and you know, maybe we can kind of work together and network to create a better foundation for ourselves, looking ahead for the future of humanity, of something more American, and where we're looking out for each other once again, like we used to do, where there used to be 50 different to 150 different broadcast public agencies, you know, broadcast agencies and networks, and now there's only 6 to 5, and there used to be farms everywhere, and now there's only 6 to 4 major food supplies around the world. And people used to look out for each other and not just depend. And maybe it's over consumerism in the way that we've been kind of programmed by fast food mindsets, malls. I realize that when people are sad and disrupted in life, they have to fill this void with consumerism. They go shopping, they go out to eat, they go do something to take their mind off what they're ignoring deep inside, and then we'll go back to work and then tell themselves this is what I have to do. And it really weighs on your health. It weighs on you. You're not a robot, you're not a machine, you're a human being. So you have a soul, and that's you're not even a human being, because you can sense things beyond the common physical world. You can imagine things beyond this world, and that makes you more than human. Makes you something divine. Divine. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. See you around.